connection with the earlier question about Tahrik-e-Jadid, now the lady has sent the question in writing. She has written that I have observed in connection with Tahrik-e-Jadid that a list is prepared of those people who contribute over and above a certain limit to be presented to Huzur for prayer. She has written, Huzur, I feel every person is entitled to this privilege as sacrifice is a relative phenomenon.
I have already answered this question in the same spirit. I fully agree with that. But that list is also of some advantage to the community collectively. Because it reminds people, and some people who can just reach that level, just for the sake of drawing my particular attention to them, in prayer of course, they reach out, extend themselves to reach out that minimum threshold. So there is no harm. It has been continuing for some time traditionally. I will not discontinue this tradition. But as far as my personal attitude is concerned, I have already explained.
There is another question. Somebody has sent the question. In history, it is often minority to recognize the truth and follow the path of their prophet in the beginning. If the minority are more often right, why do we take majority opinion when making decisions in Jamaat?
Very interesting. You know, the majority of that minority is always right. This is what has been disclosed to us by Hadhrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This fact she left out from her computation. When a minority is right, it does not mean that a minority of that minority is always right. There is a fallacy in the question.
So, if I may be permitted to narrate a latifa in connection with the split that you have just discussed with you. When Chaudhry Zafar Khan Sahab, may Allah be pleased with him, was in England when Hazrat Khalifatul Masih was very sick. At that time, Khaja Kamaluddin Sahab was also in London, not as a representative.
When he was presenting about who would be the next Khalifa, is that a particular...
Yes, and the handicaps that he is to attend to.
Very interesting.
Yes, Huzur, he said, he argued the same as some of the others, like Maulana Muhammad Ali Sahib and others, that they should not be Khalifa. And one argument that he gave was that he could not find a suitable person.
No, not like this.
He said he could not find a suitable person who had the qualities really to lead the community in West China. Then he started with Maulana Muhammad Ali Sahib, then Maulana Saduddin Sahib, and Dr. Basharat Ahmed Sahib.
How did you describe them? What was the shortcomings according to him which they possessed and you should not which disqualify them from the office of Khilafat?
Well, in some, he said they were very soft and rather weak in administration.
Yes.
In
For
some,
instance, he said about Muhammad Sahib that he is too weak.
against some, he said,
And against Moisaddin that he is too short-tempered or something. And then
his own defective.
his own, yes, what was that?
He said, my defect is that I always speak the truth. And then
he said, I have also a great folly. I can't become a Khalifa because, you know, I always say the truth. Can't help it. And Chaudhry Zafar Khan Sahib says that unfortunately that was the only defect he did not have. And that allowed Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sahib. He said Mirza Mahmud has also a defect. He is too young. So Hazrat Chaudhry Sahib retorted that as far as the other defects are concerned, they can't be rectified. But I think the defect of age will be rectified later on. He would grow old.
So may I be permitted to ask?
I'm sorry to steal your joke.
it's the visit of the Iranian president to Pakistan, and according to the press reports, he had an excellent reception. This puzzles me a little. The background is, as far as I can see, that the Shia community in Pakistan, after what has happened to us in the last year and a half, are very apprehensive. The President of Pakistan, on more than one occasion, was snubbed by the authorities in Tehran. The government of Pakistan is so...
I know the dilemma which is bothering you.
Yes, sir.
But I know what is happening in fact. But is it the right forum to discuss this politics?
Maybe not.
I know, I can explain later on. Yes, please.
Hazur, I have two questions. The first question is actually from two sources, and I tried to find that because the context was different, but the question leads to the same phenomenon. The Christians, while we were discussing about Islam and so on, they asked that why is it that the Messiah which was to come had come in India while there is a greater need, according to ourselves and because of the evils in the social, in these Western countries, why should he be imposed upon and you people come over here and tell us the good things which the Messiah has been preaching and so on? While our culture is different.
What was your answer?
Hazur, I actually took up the view that it was the universality of the...
No, you should have pointed out that the same dilemma occurred for the first time when the first Messiah came.
Yes, Hazur, I went into that as well in detail.
You know, Judea was held in relationship to Rome in the same ratio of advancement and backwardness. And extent of crime or lack of crime, everything. And in fact, the Roman Empire stood to be a very awe-inspiring, one of the greatest empires that ever were in the world. And it covered almost half the world. And the same was the state of the British Empire at the time when the second Messiah came. And as compared to the people looking from the summit of England at what was happening in a small town in India, again this ratio was exactly the same. They were looking from their ivory tower down to some small ant-like movement happening in one far-off town village of Qadian in India. As the Roman emperors were looking at what was happening in Judea, in fact they were never told what was happening there. So were not the emperors here told what was happening in Qadian. So same things are being repeated in the same way, only the world does not take notice of these things.
Yes, I think from the Shias, they ask the same question in different contexts, that the prophets have been appeared as far as they know from the Bible and from the Holy Quran. And
the Quran has already dealt with this question. Because this is not the first time that this question is raised, or the previous one either. The Holy Quran mentions that they do this. أهم يقسمون رحمة ربك ويقسمون. أهم يقسمون رحمة ربك. This is the answer. That they say Prophet should have appeared from here or from there. The answer, according to the Holy Quran, is أهم يقسمون رحمة ربك. Would they distribute the mercy of your Lord? It doesn't say our Rabb as such. This is the most beautiful expression of the Holy Quran. That He is your Lord first. Anybody else is later. And they are going to distribute His mercy and His favors. Who are they? What are they to God?